My uncle demanded I donate my kidney to his son because I'm child-free and don't need both kidneys like he does raising a family. I got the call in April. Uncle Richard, voice shaking, saying his 19-year-old son Tyler needed a kidney transplant after a genetic condition destroyed his function. He asked if I'd get tested as a potential donor. I said I was sorry about Tyler and I'd think about it. 2 days later, Richard called back with a completely different tone. He said since I chose not to have kids, I didn't need both kidneys the way Tyler did. Tyler had his whole life ahead, potential wife and children to support someday. Meanwhile, I was 33, single, living alone with just my career to worry about. He actually said my lifestyle was less demanding, so losing a kidney wouldn't impact me as much as it would someone with family responsibilities. I asked him to repeat that. He did, slower this time, like I was stupid. Your life is simpler. You work from home. You don't have dependents. Tyler needs full kidney function for his future. I told him that was insane logic and hung up. He called back immediately, said I was being selfish, that Tyler was young and deserving while I had no one relying on my health, that it made logical sense for me to be the donor since my body wasn't supporting anyone else's future. When I refused again, he recruited my dad. Dad called the next morning saying Richard's family was struggling financially and emotionally, and I only had myself to worry about. I asked why Dad didn't donate his kidney then. He said he was too old and might not be a good match. I asked if he'd even gotten tested. Silence. Richard's wife, Sandra, started texting me articles about people living normal lives with one kidney, how thousands of donors went on to run marathons and have babies and lead completely healthy lives. She sent me links to support groups and recovery timelines. She texted me at work, during dinner, late at night. Then Tyler sent me a message that made my blood boil. Uncle won't help me get better. Mom says you don't want me to have a normal life. The kid was 19 and they were coaching him to guilt trip me. I was done. I called Richard's insurance company and asked to speak to their transplant coordinator. When she answered, I explained the situation carefully. I said Tyler needed a transplant and his family was pressuring relatives instead of exploring other options. I asked if there was a donor registry Tyler should be on. The coordinator went quiet for a long moment. Then she asked if Tyler was currently registered on the national transplant list. I said I didn't know, but I assumed he was. She pulled up his records. Her voice changed completely. She said Richard never registered Tyler on the national list because he assumed family would donate immediately. She explained that the waiting list prioritized younger patients with genetic conditions exactly like Tyler's. He should have been registered months ago when his diagnosis came back. She said she'd register him that day. With his age, condition severity, and blood type, he'd be considered high priority. She thanked me for calling and said she'd reach out to Richard's family directly about the registration. Richard called me 2 hours later, screaming that I went behind his back and interfered with his family's medical decisions. I stayed calm and told him I helped Tyler more than he did by actually getting him on the proper list instead of just guilting family members who weren't ready to donate. He said I ruined everything, that family was supposed to step up in situations like this, that I'd always been selfish and this proved it. I told him Tyler deserved access to every possible donor option, not just the ones Richard felt entitled to. Then I hung up and blocked his number. Sandra kept texting for another week before she finally stopped. Dad called once to say I'd caused unnecessary drama, then dropped it when I asked again if he'd gotten tested as a potential donor himself. 3 months later, Tyler got a kidney from a deceased donor match through the National Registry. Perfect compatibility. Better than any living family donor would have been. Richard never apologized, but Tyler sent me a text after his surgery. Thanks for actually helping instead of just talking about it.